YouTube, it's Zoe, and today I'm going to share with you the books I turn to in an emergency, when I'm stressed or sad or just in one of those run-of-the-mill emotional crises and I need something comforting. But before we start, this video is kindly being sponsored by Simon & Schuster to celebrate the release of Emergency Contact by Mary H.K. Choi, which came out just this past Tuesday, March 27th. I'm actually really excited about this. This has been on my TBR and it seems right up my alley because it is a contemporary romance. This follows Penny Lee, who has had a pretty uneventful life thus far. Everything from her grades to her boyfriend have just been okay. For college, where she is studying to be a writer, she moves away from home to Austen, Texas, and she wants to leave her past behind. She wants to start fresh. This also follows Sam, whose life is not going so well. He is living in the storage room of the cafe where he works, and he is not in the financial position to move out yet. So they both aren't in the best place in their life emotionally when they awkwardly meet and exchange numbers. Through text, they are able to bare their soul to one another. They are able to share their wildest dreams and their deepest secrets without actually seeing one another face to face. That is so relatable. I have had several people where I talk to them over the internet or over text and I feel so comfortable with them, but once I actually think about meeting them face to face, I tense up and I'm like, no, abort mission, we shall never see one another. Definitely something I've experienced and I know a lot of other people have too, so it's great to finally see it in a book. I'm excited about this. Now, without any further ado, let's get to the books that I turn to in an emergency. Most of these are ones that I have reread time and time again. I have such fond memories attached to them and they are always there to welcome me back in a warm, cozy embrace. The first one, though, is a relatively new favorite, at least compared to the other ones in this list. It is Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. I read this for the first time last year, but I grew up watching the 1980s adaptation. I remember staying homesick from school and my dad would hang out on the couch with me all day watching all of these movies, so it already felt comforting to me. But lately I've had trouble sleeping, and wouldn't you know it, the cure to my insomnia is the Anne of Green Gables audiobook narrated by Rachel McAdams. It's on Audible if you want to check it out. It is so soothing. Whenever I am tossing and turning at night, I just pop on this audiobook and Rachel McAdams' dulcet tones lull me to sleep almost instantly. I hear like one word out of her mouth and I am knocked out. Her voice is comforting. The story, set in an idyllic Canadian landscape with lovable characters, is comforting. My love for this book is turning into an obsession, but it's okay. I'm fine with it. My next emergency read is actually a genre, and that is contemporary romance. Not only are they quick to read, so they lift my spirits when I'm able to add another book to my Goodreads reading challenge, but so many of them are funny and lighthearted. Also, a lot of them are hilariously dramatic, so it's a relief to focus on another person's messed up life instead of your own. Here are a few contemporary romances that I have enjoyed recently. Wow, these were good. Yep, you should read them. But my favorite author in this genre, hands down, has got to be Morgan Matson. I have consistently loved every single one of the books that she has written, and they all have massive reread potential, which isn't always the case in contemporaries. The one I have reread the most, and is my personal favorite, is Since You've Been Gone. I first read this in my freshman year of college when I was feeling incredibly insecure and depressed, and I was unsure what I was doing with my life at all, and I deeply connected to the main character, Emily. I think this was one of the first times I was able to actually see myself in a book. Of course, I wanted to see myself as characters in other books. Like, I wanted to be Hermione from Harry Potter, but I wasn't actually Hermione, but I felt like I was actually Emily. So I've been reading contemporary for years. I think this was a book that got me hooked onto the genre. It's not just fun, but it actually has a deep message. It has substance to it, and that's why I can return to it multiple times. Also, this needs a movie. Where is the of the Morgan Matson books, I ask you. My next emergency read is so obvious, I just talked about it. Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling. Duh! Even though there have been some really disappointing things coming from the creators of the franchise lately, I still am massively loyal to the book series. It was my friend throughout my entire childhood, and still to this day, it has never left my side. My oldest companion. That sounds sad, but it's true. In elementary school, I would spend my summers with my mom in a different city where I had no friends at all. I didn't know anybody, not even the neighbors. All I had was my family and my books, specifically Harry Potter. And it made me feel a little less lonely. I felt like Harry Potter during his summers. I was lonely, I didn't have any of my friends around me, but I was able to escape to Hogwarts. This series helped instill so many morals into me, and so many of my role models were Harry Potter characters. Again, I wanted to be Hermione Granger. I had the hair. That's pretty much all we had in common. I liked to read. I wasn't as cool as Hermione, but I wanted to be her. This was the first book series I ever read. I started it in first grade when I was 6 years old, and I was so proud of myself when I finished the first book because it was a pretty long chapter book. But since I first started reading this 17 years ago, I have read it countless times, the entire series. Actually, I've only read the last book twice, but whatever. I'm pretty sure you can give me any of the books and flip to a random page and I will know what's happening, and I will have such strong memories attached to every single page. Hogwarts does feel like home. I know it's so cheesy, but it's true. Wow, this video just turned into a love letter to Harry Potter. In short, the essence of my gushing was that I love this series. I will reread it until I die. I will force my kids to read it, and it comforts me so much. Next is one that I've never actually reread, but I will continue to read the books in this series no matter how many keep coming out, and that is the Shadowhunter Chronicles by Cassandra Clare. I love these books, one, because it's a great story, it's great world building, great characters, and Cassandra Clare's writing keeps on getting better, but two, this was the first series I ever read because of BookTube. Before BookTube, I would pick out books because my family had read them, or because when I went to the library, I thought the cover looked interesting. But BookTube was the first time I saw readers my own age recommending books and freaking out about fictional characters, and I quickly became obsessed, obviously, because you're watching this on my BookTube channel. But anyway, I would write down a list of all of the books I heard people talk about. I would rush to the library, check out all of those books, and read them so that I could finally understand what the cool kids were talking about. And one of these first books was City of Bones. Since then, I am caught up with the series. All 100 books or whatever are in the series. Honestly, it's so many I cannot keep track. But every time I pick up a new one of her books, I remember the awkward high school Zoe who was so excited to learn about BookTube and finally have reader friends. The Shadowhunter Chronicles is BookTube to me. Oh gosh, I'm getting emotional talking about Now, flash forward a couple of years, I have made some of my best friends through BookTube, and we talk about these books all the time, we gush about them. I swear, half the fun of reading Cassandra Clare is talking to BookTube friends about Cassandra Clare. The other half is because, again, they're good books. Also, in case you're wondering, my favorite book in the Shadowhunter Chronicles would have to be Clockwork Princess. No contest at all. It's the best. And the final emergency read I want to talk about is obviously Jane Austen. I mean, did you think I was going to go through an entire video without talking about my favorite author? Oh ho ho. I think not. No sir. I've read all of her books and they all bring me such utter joy. I love her writing. It is so witty. I love the dialogue, the relationships between characters, the romance. Obviously, I love the simplicity of the early 1800s. I mean, I wouldn't want to live there because no electricity, no indoor plumbing, and not great hygiene, but I would definitely want to visit. Emma and Pride and Prejudice are my personal favorites. I have read Pride and Prejudice 3 times, 4? 5 times? I don't actually know. Before listening to Anne of Green Gables before bed, I used to listen to the Rosamund Pike version of the Pride and Prejudice audiobook, which is also on Audible. I used to listen to that before bed. So I can't be sure how many times I've actually listened to the whole book. But it's not only the books I turn to time and time again when I'm looking for a pick-me-up, but it's every single Jane Austen adaptation as well. You name it, I've probably seen it, or at least I am going to see it because you just let me know that there's a Jane Austen adaptation I haven't seen yet. I've seen the Lizzie Bennet Diaries web series here on YouTube so many times. I pop it on as background noise when I am doing my homework, which just turns into me watching the Lizzie Bennet Diaries. I've seen Lost in Austen, Clueless obviously, Material Girls with Hilary Duff. I've even seen Bride and Prejudice, which is the Bollywood version of Pride and Prejudice. I really like that one. I can't get enough Jane Austen and Jane Austen adaptations. My favorite adaptation is the old classic 2005 Keira Knightley Pride and Prejudice though. The chemistry, the acting, the soundtrack, oh my gosh, that piano score, I want to make that my alarm, but also I would never wake up. It's too soothing. Wow, enough gushing. Those are the books and the adaptations that I turn to when I'm feeling blue and want something cozy. All of these books are so near and dear to me. I think they have actually turned into my Horcruxes because of how much of my soul is tied to each one of them. Whoops, probably shouldn't have let you all know what my Horcruxes are because now I will never be immortal. No! Anyway, let me know down below what your emergency reads are. I really, truly would like to know because this list was so hard for me to narrow down. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will talk to you all soon in my next video. Bye!